Hey, you're watching Half Asian Tarot Queen. I'm Elisa. Haven't done a bunch of readings, but like in the last week, this big transformational story has been coming up, so kind of hitting the pavement with lots of readings. I'm doing the Tarot del Fuego because there's a hugely transformational story coming out right now, so I figure this is a good deck. So I'm gonna pull some like overall energies. I haven't used this deck much, but I love the artwork on it. I'm not really even sure why I haven't used it. But yeah, we'll see what comes out. If you're new to the channel, thanks for checking it out. I arranged the videos on the channel according to storyline and not so much according to date or zodiac sign, so they're pretty much timeless, and I like link related readings within at the top. So a little context for you. And I pre-pulled, oh, I think that's it. So I pre-pulled from some other decks also, which I'm going to get to. But at the bottom, we have the Magician. So it's a card of manifestation, and it's a card of like creating something out of nothing. And it's a card of someone who's sort of like empowered to do that. And when I picked it up to like kind of show the artwork here, so it's like there's all the elements here, and it's like creating something in the fire. But when I picked it up, underneath we had judgment, judgment, and death. So yeah, like this definitely goes along with the story of transformation that I was sort of alluding to. But yeah, the Magician at the bottom of the deck. So we're like manifesting. So then I got the Seven of Wands, the Lovers, the Star, the Knave of Pentacles, and the Knave of Cups. So I love the artwork. So in this Seven of Wands, it's like there's like it almost looks like a beaver that's like holding these 7 wands on the tip of its nose. It's like fighting against this wave and all these fish like coming, you know. So it's just like really, it's like a card of like standing your ground and sort of like defending your position. And then we have the Lovers, which is a card of like, it's like a deep soulmate connection. So it could represent that. It could also be like a card about like reconciling two halves of a whole, or you know, integrating parts of yourself, you know, which is interesting because the reading that I did for the whole year, which I'll link up here, was all about like integration. So it's like we're defending ourselves, but there's like a choice that's needing to be made. And then we have the Star. So this is a card of like healing and a card of wishes coming true, you know. And it's also just like, you know, this it's a card of like of this reconciliation. So I think it's interesting that it comes right after the Lovers, you know. So there's like it's almost like you know, reconciling some maybe distortion within yourself, but like inevitably that's going to impact all the relationships in your orbit, you know, when that happens. So interesting. And then we have the Knave of Pentacles and the Knave of Cups. So I mean, this is like a tangible, solid offer, like in the real world, that's like coming online, or an opportunity. And then, you know, this is like a message of love coming in. So it's interesting because also because people talk about how like abundance and love are connected. So it's interesting that these both came up at the same time, you know, within this healing. So I'm going to keep going with the other decks, but you know, this definitely goes along with the story of transformation that's been coming through and healing. And yeah, I'm going to start with the Urban Tarot. It's a really like grounded deck, you know, and it uses New York City as a muse, but I also feel like it like really reflects like what's going on in like three-dimensional, on the ground reality. So at the bottom we have Fortitude, which is the Nine of Wands. In the traditional deck, this is the Wounded Warrior card. In this deck, it shows this mailman who's like through rain, sleet, and snow, like going around New York City to deliver the mail, like they're fighting for it, you know. So it's kind of like this beaver who's like, you know, doing this uphill battle, building this dam against all these fish and everything. But anyways, right after that we have Justice, the Moon, Truce, the Six of Cups, the Hierophant, and Empress. So what I get is, you know, there's this wounded warrior who's been really run through the ringer and is like really worn out from all this drama that they've had to sort through. But whatever the situation is, it's like being brought to justice, and there's something hidden that's kind of like, you know, coming to light. And this is allowing for, it's like a new beginning, you know. We have the Four of Swords and the Empress, which both are kind of like cards of like having a new beginning, sort of like on the cusp of this new dawn, you know. But and I feel like I have a reading called A New Dawn, which I'm going to link up here. But this is like the timeout, you know, before. So it's interesting because it's like we have this justice, we have this truth coming to light, you know, then we have this timeout. But then we have the Six of Cups, you know, which again, this is another card of a like soulmate connection. In this deck, it's pleasure. So it can be like coming together with someone from the past. But it's a card of love, you know, which is interesting because we had this message of love coming in. And then we have the Hierophant. So this, in this deck, like with this artwork, it's almost like this person is being blessed. It's like there's this light shining down and there's this dove, and it's like this person is receiving this blessing, you know. And that's kind of paving the way for this new beginning, which is the Empress, you know, this empowered, giving birth to a new life. It could be giving birth to an actual person or an idea or a business or something, but there's something that's coming online as a result of this sort of like profound transformation. And it's interesting too, because when I go to the mystical shaman, which I think gives like a more spiritual perspective, at the bottom we have fire. So this is like a profound transformation, you know, that's coming online. It's interesting because I, you know, picked the Fire Tarot del Fuego deck. But this big transformation that's happening. And we have, so we have the Rainmaker, the Coyote, Lightning, the Smoky Mirror, and Arrow. So really interesting because, I mean, this is a card of manifestation and co-creating with the universe, you know, and it's sort of like, you don't, when you're co-creating with the universe, you know, it's like you try to align your intentions with the highest good, and that's what's going to give you the most power, you know. But it can be a double-edged sword because you don't really control how or when things come to pass. And if you're not in alignment with the highest good, it can like work against you, you know. But yeah, so we have this person who's in alignment, and it's like they've got these wings behind them, and they're kind of like being blessed. So it's interesting because, like, I feel like in certain ways it's like a similar message to this card, at least how I'm taking it in this reading. And then we have the Coyote, which is like kind of like trusting in life's detours, you know. So it's like you don't really have control about how things manifest, but don't fear the coyote. Like, it might take you to places that you're not expecting, but it's gonna work out. Like, the wisdom that you need to learn from the situation will come to you, but probably not in the way that you're expecting. And then we have the Lightning. So this is like kind of like the Tower in the traditional deck, but it's just sort of like, you know, kind of being blessed with this sort of like inspiration, but it's like this sudden jolt, which is gonna like totally change your perspective on a situation. And it's kind of a game changer, you know. So and that's followed by the Smoky Mirror, which came out in their last reading that I did. And this is a card that's all about, and I talked about this earlier, like having maybe some sort of distortion, and things needing to be set straight, you know. And so it's like a card of discomfort, you know, because you're kind of having to have faith as you move through this, that whatever it is that you're not seeing in the right way is going to be shown to you. But that's like part of the whole path of healing, which is interesting because we have this coming through with the Star card. So it's just sort of like this is an uncomfortable process because you're like stepping out of your comfort zone, and this truth is being shown to you, and you're, you know, something that's hidden is coming to light. But, you know, there's all these cards of like justice and a good outcome, you know. So despite it being uncomfortable, this is going to be leading you to a positive outcome. And then, you know, we end with the Arrow. So this is a card of like being in alignment with the universe and having your intentions line up with the highest good. And so there's this power in that, because it's like when you pull the boat and like release your arrow is going to hit the mark because your intentions are lined up with the universe, because you have this support behind you. The arrow is going to hit the mark. So yeah, there's this profound transformation that's underway, and it might feel really uncomfortable and out of control, but it's actually, it's going to be a really really positive thing. So just like keep the faith and just like try to stay focused on yourself and like move through the energy, you know? And so when I go to the animal spirit, it's interesting because the cards that came out for this, it's really powerful because first of all, I got 2 of these like silver circles, which are like the spiritual cards, and there's not that many of them, so to get 2 of them in the same reading is pretty big. But we got the black egg, which this is a card, and it's aligned with the throat chakra, and this is a card of like the truth, you know. So it's interesting because we had this card, you know, but it's all about you know, things coming into alignment with the truth. And this may require someone to speak their truth, you know. And it talks about when you're not in alignment with that, it's like things can become cloudy, and like you'll use your voice to just like spread stories or tell gossip or whatever, you know, instead of when you're in alignment with the truth, and your words become really powerful, you know, to affect change. And so this card is sort of like an omen of that. And then it's interesting because then we got the sea serpent. And so this is a card that's in alignment with the second chakra, the sacral chakra. And it's interesting because I was talking about how people talk about abundance and love being linked, which came out here. And both of these things are connected with the second chakra. So this speaks to like a healing, you know, like we carry like deep emotional wounds in this chakra. And so oftentimes like people who have experienced trauma in their life will be blocked in like expressing this chakra, because this is like where we store these emotional wounds. But then when you can heal that blockage, you can bring in love and abundance, and those things may have been blocked, you know, while you're carrying the wound. So like in exposing this, and it's like you open yourself to receive love and to receive abundance. So it's interesting because we have this healing, this profound healing event that's happening, and this truth that's being spoken, these, you know, something hidden coming to light and justice being served, you know, and this deep wound being healed. And then that goes right into, at the bottom of the deck, we have the bear, which is interesting because the bear is, it speaks to this new life being born and coming out of hibernation. And like this transformation, you know, and it's like, at first it's really uncomfortable and unpleasant, you know, because it's like after you wake up from being asleep all winter, you know, it's like all the stuff you got to deal with, you know, and it feels like overwhelming and a lot of work. But like as you start to move into the spring, like, you know, it's like this new life emerges. So it's like, wow, this is a really like I said, a really powerful story of transformation that's been coming through in the readings this week, which is, like I said, I haven't really been doing many readings, but there's a lot of them coming out this week. So you can go back and check the other readings from this week. So I feel like this is, yeah, just you know, the next step on the path of the transformation that's been coming through this week. I'm going to the Oracle of Seven Energies to pick the final card to end the reading. And then I'm going to go to sleep because I actually woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, you know, bursting with energy. So, so I'm doing a reading to help like go back to sleep. Okay, so I got the Land Between, endless possibilities. It's interesting because this is like the star. And let it go. Wow, that's really interesting because I was watching right before I went to sleep this reading from JDS Tarot, and I talked about this in a couple readings ago. I'll link it, but this tarot channel that I've been watching a lot, and he like sings all the time, and like, he was like, let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Whatever it is that's going on, like this transformation, you know, in the drama that's like kind of being released, it's just like, let it be what it is. Like, focus on yourself. It's gonna be a good change, but just like keep moving through the energy and like let it be what it is, you know, because we're kind of in this land in between these two worlds. We're kind of having to take a leap of faith into the future, into the unknown. And so there's this moment of discomfort because this is kind of like outside of how we're seeing the world, you know, prior. But you have to change your perception and sort of in order to like align with this new reality, you know. So it's like you know, this process of giving birth, it's painful, and but there's this great blessing at the end of it, you know. There's endless possibilities and healing, but in order to connect with that, you have to take a leap of faith into the unknown. So I hope this is a helpful message in this moment of change for someone, and keep your eyes on the stars and your feet on the ground. Keep moving, and it's going to turn out really well.